In this lesson, we'll see how we can apply operations to our viewport selections using the radial menu, and how we can quickly repeat the last operation. We'll also look at the difference between working interactively with the edit node and working interactively with procedural operators such as the poly extrude node. For modelling directly in the viewport, I generally prefer using the radial menu for applying operations to my component selections rather than using the tab menu. I find it faster because it means that I don't have to keep taking my hand off the mouse to type operator names. When we add an operator using the radial menu, we get exactly the same behaviour as when we use the tab menu while hovering over the viewport. Houdini automatically connects the node to the network and automatically adds the component selection in the group parameter. So let's take a quick look at this. I'll delete this poly extrude node again by hovering my cursor over the network editor and hitting the delete key. And now I'll change my radial menu from main to modelling. Now with this edge loop selected, I'll tap the C key to bring up the radial menu, and I'll swipe through to polygons and select the poly extrude node. Just like when we added the operator from the tab menu while hovering the cursor over the viewport, Houdini's connected the poly extrude node and added the edge selection to the group parameter field. I'll extrude these edges out along the point normal again. And now I want to extrude these edges again, but this time I want to extrude them straight down along the world y-axis. Because the poly extrude's a procedural node, we can only apply a single extrude operation to a single component selection. We can't make multiple extrusions on different component selections in the way that we can make multiple edits in a single edit node. So I need to add another poly extrude operator, and we can quickly repeat the last operation by hovering the cursor over the viewport and tapping the Q key, and we see that that drops down another poly extrude node in the network editor. Now I don't want to extrude these edges out along the same direction as these primitives, or in the direction perpendicular to them. I just want to extrude them straight down along the world y-axis. So I'll just undo that extrusion by tapping Ctrl Z, and I'll tap the F key to switch to front transform mode. Now I can just use this transform handle to extrude these edges straight down along the world y-axis. Now I want to extrude these edges again, but this time inwards to form a flat bottom to the base of the vase. So I'll tap the Q key again to repeat the poly extrude operation, and now I can just tap the M key to toggle the extrude mode to be along the point normal, and I'll extrude these edges towards the centre of the vase. Now finally I want to fill this hole, and there's a few different ways that we could do this, but what I'll do is use the poly fill node, which I'll add by tapping the C key to bring up the radial menu, and I'll swipe through to polygons and select poly fill. We see that that's filled the hole, but the topology doesn't look so great. So I'll change the fill mode from quadrilaterals to quadrilateral fan, and I'll turn off deform patch. And now we've filled the hole with clean quad topology. If we take a look in the network editor, we can see the difference between the way that the edit node works compared to procedural nodes such as the poly extrude node. Each time we perform an extrusion on a different selection of geometry components, we need a separate poly extrude node. Whereas with the edit node, we're able to perform multiple edits on different component selections within this single node. The poly extrude node's a procedural node, which we can also work with interactively in the viewport, whereas the edit node's designed purely for working with directly in the viewport. So in this lesson, we've seen that when we use the radial menu to apply a modelling operation, we get the same automatic connection of the operator to the network and the same entering of the component selection that we get when we use the tab menu over the viewport. We've also seen that we can quickly repeat the last operation by tapping the Q key while hovering the cursor over the viewport.